no amount of overthinking will pull you out of the hole you're stuck in if you don't have an action. There's a few things happening in my life. I felt also, yeah, a lot of uncertainty, surrounded by uncertainty. What's gonna happen? Oh wow. The lease of my house is coming to an end. Where am I gonna be living? Or where are we gonna live? How is gonna happen?
Mm,
Oh, can we afford it? What activity we're gonna be doing? And then I felt like I was surrounded by all those questions, and I said, "Oh, how do I get out of this? Because nothing is gonna get resolved right now." So
mm,
the only thing that I had to do is to take action. So I went for a walk, and then I saw nature, and clarity came a little bit more, and thinking that in fact nothing is happening. It's just all in my head. The
mm,
day is exactly the same as yesterday. And when you start getting that perspective that there is nothing happening, but and it's all in your head. When it's all in your head, you can actually make a distinction and look at it. Okay, it's in my head. What do I do with that? Oh, acknowledge it, write it down,
mm,
go for a swim, meditate, whatever you feel like. Just uh, stay with the thought, but not in the thought. Stay
mm.
with the thought, and then you see that at some point the clarity will come. The bottom line of this, the way out, is through moving, through um, getting out of that spiral of thoughts.
Welcome to What No One Told Us. This is a conversation between two men in the middle of life. We don't come with answers or a plan to get anywhere. We come as we are, with what's alive, what's unclear, and what's honest.
Sometimes we speak from certainty, sometimes from doubt, and sometimes we're just trying to understand what we are feeling in real time. If you're listening while navigating your own questions, you are very welcome here.
Good morning, Diego.
Morning, Lloyd. How are you?
Hmm.
Oh,
So
is
this
it
morning.
so?
Yeah, it's taken a bit for me to get here, but I'm here, showing up, and maybe this is the key message for today. Showing up, even though it's not always easy or not always convenient, or maybe there's a lot of other things going on in the background. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I'm here.
What's happening in the background?
What's happening in the background? Hmm. Yeah, wobbly old month. It's been since the last time I saw you. I don't know if it's been a month, but there's been a bit happening in the background in terms of life stuff, health. My health has been great. Um, Trying to start uni, and that's presented a whole kind of, I guess, um, yeah, like a whole story there as well, which is interesting. Nothing that I expected going into this new stage. Um, some financial stuff. So, like I said, yeah, just life stuff really. That's simmering away in the background. And I guess what I've noticed through that period is that despite all that, I'm still showing up anyway, and that's been quite a good teacher, or quite a good kind of learning through that process, that um even though we have this podcast together, Diego, and we show up at different stages and different times of life, and we always want to show up with this sense of uh coming into the conversation real, and with stuff that's coming up, and important things. And sometimes those are really um amazing things, and sometimes they're difficult things as well. So I think I'm here because I believe in that, I believe in that purpose to be here for me, for each other, but then also, for people that are listening, that
Mm.
even though it's difficult sometimes, just showing up and willing to be vulnerable, to be
Mm.
honest. There's a real power in that, a real sense of it's okay. Because most of the time you'll find that when you do, the guy sitting opposite you or the woman sitting opposite you or whoever it is that you're engaging with in life on a daily basis, they're also going through some stuff. And
Mm.
maybe, when you can be brave enough and be courageous enough to show up regardless of everything else that's going on in the background, showing up in the things that are important to you, like this podcast is very important to me. These conversations are very important to me. Um, the impact that we can have, the influence that we can have on the community that are listening is important to me. So I'm here, and I'm here, and I'm willing to be vulnerable, to be courageous in that honor.
Thank you, Lloyd, and for being here and to put yourself in this situation. And because I guess maybe the brain has other plans. It's curious. Yesterday, I just pull up a little sentence that says, um, "No amount of overthinking will pull you out of the hole you're stuck in if you don't have an action." So I believe that the action and the doing, at some point, even when it's hard, at least interrupts the overthinking and this clears something, or at least gives you a little bit of a different perspective when you move a little bit from your place of overthinking. Because in my point of view, when I'm stuck with a lot of things, I try to so I my brain starts looking for solutions until try to find someone some of the one, and it never happens. It's more
Mm,
and more thinking, and then you start canceling actions, and you don't do actions because you are thinking, and you cannot do this because you have a problem, and then everything becomes big.
mm,
So I believe the action of showing up, it's already a good sort of a tool when we feel that we are overwhelmed with thoughts or things that we need to resolve, or we feel like we have our life is not that clear, or
mm.
the but yeah, it is a very good start, Lloyd, and congratulations for being here and sharing all of that, because yeah,
Yeah, thank you,
it is
Diego, and thank you for sharing that line. I'm wondering if you could just read it once more.
it is no amount of overthinking will pull you out of the hole you're stuck in.
No amount of overthinking can pull you out of the hole you're stuck in.
Yeah,
So, can
so
I ask what was the
only action. Yeah.
only action? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
can I ask what led you to that line?
Oh, I just saw it online somewhere. Um, one of these days, I had like that situation where there's a few things happening in my life, as most lives, and I felt also very a lot of uncertainty, surrounded by uncertainty. What's gonna happen? Oh wow, the lease of my house is coming to an end. Where am I gonna be living? Oh, um, I would love to be living with Donna, my partner. Where are we going to live? How is going to happen?
Mm,
Oh, can we afford it? What activity we are going to be doing? And then I felt like I was surrounded by all those questions, and I said, "Oh, how do I get out of this? Because nothing is going to get resolved right now." So
mm,
the only thing that I had to do is to take action. So I went for a walk, and then I saw nature, and clarity came a little bit more, and thinking that in fact nothing is happening. It's just all in my head. The
Mm,
day is exactly the same as yesterday, with probably different, slightly different weather or slightly different elements around you. But then the now that you're living is exactly, there's nothing happening. It's all in your head.
mm,
And when you start getting that perspective that there is nothing happening, but and it's all in your head. When it's all in your head, you can actually make a distinction and look at it. Okay, it's in my head. What do I do with that? Oh, do whatever you want. I acknowledge it, write it down,
mm,
um, don't know, go for a swim, meditate, whatever you feel like. Just stay with the thought, but not in the thought. Stay
mm,
with the thought, and then you see that at some point the clarity will come, or clarity, or some other thought will come.
mm,
um, and but there's a way out through there. I think that's probably the bottom line of this. The way out is through moving, through um, getting out of that spiral of thoughts, and trying to find more thoughts
mm.
to solve the previous thought.
Yeah, I'm hearing that, and that comes back to that line, no amount of overthinking is going to get you out of that hole.
Mhm.
So uh, I really relate to what you're saying. In myself, I've noticed a tendency to go into that overthinking or overanalyzing, solutionizing to problems.
Yeah.
Uh, and I understand why that happens in theory, right? Of course, we all want to have solutions to our problems, right? But often in that moment when there's an element of perhaps stress or uncertainty, it can be quite uncomfortable. And I think we go into a little bit of tunnel vision. So as you
Mm.
said, like stepping into nature and going for a walk is one action that I think is a really helpful one for a number of reasons. And the first one is that movement, physical movement, I think, of some sort, um, is very powerful to help shift that state. And secondly, in nature forces us to expand.
Hmm.
So it forces us into a situation where we have to kind of be immersed in our well, we don't have to, we choose to. If I'm walking along the beach, then I'm trying to pay attention to the feeling of the sand on my toes, the landscape, how far can I see, the sound of the waves. Maybe there's people walking past me, and I might make an effort to raise my head and give them some sort of a gesture, maybe a smile, maybe a nod, something just to say, I see you, you see me. So those little things make a difference. They just, in my experience, help to expand. So yeah, I really think nature and some sort of movement, whether it's jogging or walking, can be really really helpful
Hmm.
situation for me personally, particularly when I find myself in states of uncertainty or anxiety, worry, ruminating on something that's bothering me. So there at the root cause, there's an issue, right? For you, you were talking about your house lease coming up. So where are you going to live? Now,
Yeah.
that's a valid worry, right? Um, so going for a walk, yeah. Tell me what
I,
happened after you went for a walk.
also, Lloyd, sorry, I will add something else when you said, okay, well, look at someone that is also walking, and
Mm,
so find that connection. Also, connected with someone else is a very good
mm,
way of disrupting that sort of overthinking. Or calling someone that you love, or asking someone how you doing, and then the you know your the focus changes, so you get a little bit unstuck, and somehow those thoughts might not be as powerful as you think they are.
Mm,
And yeah, that's another thing. Oh, and obviously the daily practices, all right. If you have daily practices, just go back to them, all right. Don't abandon them because you feel that over that today is a special day
mm,
that you deserve to be stressed. Because I have that. Oh, this is normal. Today I have to be stressed because all of this is happening. So, well, maybe there's a possibility of not being stressed, all right?
mm,
Because I'm justifying that's one day. Oh, this is the second day I'm stressed. I'm justifying this because this is all happening to me. And then, and the third day, we are already, dominated by our stress, and we have
mm,
no more choice. All right, we just don't see it anymore.
mm,
So having the ability to see all of that, and maybe, as you always say, Lloyd, like take a pause, stop,
mm,
and stop. Nothing's gonna happen if you stop. Nothing.
mm,
And it's incredible because we get caught on that wheel, and then it's like, oh, we got caught. We need to start again, right? And start
mm,
everything then that
mm.
we have in place. Start again because we see that the overthinking is not conducive to anything. It might give us one idea or two, but I mean, it's not conducive to anything.
Yeah,
It take us away from what's happening, from what's really happening now.
yeah. And on that, in my experience with overthinking, any thoughts, if there are any one or two thoughts that you might get out of that hard thinking process, I also wonder about the validity and
Mm,
whether those thoughts are actually aligned
mm,
with me, with my values. Because we go into that tunnel vision, I think when we're more in that overthinking and over ruminating, there's a certain element of tension there,
mm,
you say. And when we're in that state, we're probably more in a sympathetic nervous state than a relaxed state.
mm,
So in that moment, the quality of the thoughts that are coming out, how genuine, how authentic are those thoughts? Can we recognize that for a moment? I'll give you an example, a very recent example. This morning, I woke up with this particular thought in my mind, this particular worry, and I started to kind of cycle through the thoughts. The thoughts I could just see them kind of going round and round and building momentum like a snowball. And uh, in that moment, being aware of that process, I was able to just for a second step out of that and see it from another perspective as the snowball that was getting bigger. And the thoughts that were coming out of there, or the solutions to this particular problem, I also had to check.
mm,
So in that moment, I just paused on those thoughts and thought, okay, well, there's a thought, but I'm not sure about that because of the state that I'm feeling at the moment. There was, out of 10, there was probably a good 6 or 7 level of anxiety,
mm,
tension. The brain was sort of feeling like it was going around that
mm,
circle. So I didn't trust the validity of those thoughts. I never want to act uh, out of those states, if that makes sense.
mm,
I never want to be making this, if I can avoid it, I want to avoid making decisions from those states.
mm,
The antidote to that, again, coming back to walking in nature, is that when the thoughts come in those spaces, often there's a sense of purity or clarity or um, to go even deeper, like they're coming from another place.
Hmm.
They're not necessarily coming out of that kind of hard thinking, kind of, oh, I need to get away from this problem or I need to fix this problem quickly. They're
Yeah.
more like coming from another place in my body. Have you noticed that? Can you resonate with that at all?
Yeah, with a bit of space, it spaces out a bit, yeah, and it's and also, I guess in my thing is it highlights sometimes the magnitude of our problems in comparison when it put us in perspective with something much bigger than us, all right, which is nature. And so yes, definitely, Lloyd, there will be something around that. Um, the other thing yeah, the other day I had one of those mornings that I woke up and for some reason very I wasn't feeling happy or for some reason or not happy. I was feeling like bit gloomy and I said, well, where is this mood coming from and what is it? And so I look at it and then I put something out there like for myself. I said like, mate, do you understand that there is nothing happening in your life? This is in the now in this moment. You have everything you wanted ever. Everything is so beautiful. You got, your kids, your partner. You live in New Zealand. You have choices. And I said you have done everything you wanted and you need it and you're still not happy. What's happening, Diego? And I said, and then I got in touch with this moment. All right, I said, what is happening now? Why? This is your life, Diego. Today, now, right now, is everything you got. What are you thinking about? What is it? What are your worries? And and suddenly everything started shifting and I sort of surrendered to the beauty of what's happening at the moment.
Mm,
And it doesn't need to be like an amazing sunrise or
mm,
whatever happened in the moment is what's happening in the moment. So you have the chance to transform it into a beautiful moment.
mm,
Into you can be stuck in traffic, and you could be the most beautiful moment that you've chosen to reflect on yourself, to breathe, or to give gratitude to something, or to call someone you love, or to listen to your favorite song,
mm,
or to sing, or to whatever. There's many ways that we can tap into beautiful places, and it's always a choice away. All right, it is a choice away. I'm even when you are in that overthinking hole, we think there is no choice. There's no way there is a choice. Because look at my life. This is what all of this happening. You have all the elements to justify that, but it's not true.
mm,
It's not true. It's just a story as well.
mm.
So if you are to make a story about your life, why don't you make a good one? Because everything that we are creating are stories. So create a good one, and this is what I came out that day. Instead of waking up and creating all these things, just create a good story and then see how it goes.
Mm,
And 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 at the end, as you know, the very common phrase that we are the authors of our lives, which is true. We create our lives the way we want. It's just
mm.
it's very hard. It's very hard to get to that point and create it and
Oh,
be
100%.
creating. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's a beautiful concept, and I've written that down because it's a good reminder to myself of the stories that I tell myself. And we all do it, right? We all tell ourselves these horror stories. Uh, and why? It is just a choice away. Uh, I think that's a difficult thing to access sometimes when you're stuck in a ruminating cycle of worry.
Hmm.
So just bringing it back to the reality of going through a difficult space, it can be hard to see that positive through the lens of fear, worry, anxiety. You're staying in that kind of, I need to solve this. My current situation is unacceptable. It's unsustainable. I need to get out of it. Like it's kind of like thinking your way out of a paper bag, and things get complicated and
Mm.
convoluted, and often there's layers. You strip it right back to what is actually there. You're right. It's very, very small, but we compound these challenges with more stories.
Hmm.
And I think those stories, come back to how we've grown up, what we come to understand about the world, what we come to understand about ourselves, and all these kind of layers of conditioning, like an onion, layers of the onion, like layers of a story. So, um, coming back to again two words you used right at the start of the conversation today in that line. I think you mentioned action
Hmm.
and movement. So there's something there in accessing that state of positivity. Like, okay, I'm creating a story here in order to access my higher my higher kind of power, my higher thinking. I need to do something that's going to, move me into that state. Do you understand that what I'm saying here is that sometimes before you can kind of get to changing the story, it's a good place to access nature, to access movement, to access connection with others, to access all these other things that just help expand our view a little bit. And
Hmm.
suddenly, I think we can notice that those stories, those new stories, those new positive stories are more accessible to us
Mm. Yeah.
from a lighter space. So
Yeah.
first, to kind of paraphrase that, it's you're in a hard spot, you're overthinking, asking yourself to shift that mindset to positive thinking in that moment is a bit of a stretch. For me, in my
Hmm.
experience personally, there needs to be something in the middle there. So what is that for you?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
for me, like I said, walking in nature is a great expansive exercise to help get me out of to help move me through into that space. So it's just that little kind of step, and
I
then
I would say, Lloyd, I would like to add one more thing that I asked myself one question before because sometimes we are in that uncomfortable place and we are enjoying it. There is something for
mm,
us, all right?
mm,
Sometimes we are in that ruminating place in that hole, and somehow we are having some sort of benefit of being in that hole.
mm,
So regardless what you do, you move and you said, "Oh no, I shouldn't be in that hole." And then you move and said, "Oh, I'm still in that hole, and see how bad my life is. I even walking, I'm still in that hole. Oh, even moving, I'm still in my hole. Connecting with us, still my hole." So there's a for me there's a step which is, do I want to get out of this, or am I enjoying this? Because um, many times I find myself, oh, I can be a victim of my own life. I could actually be grumpy without having been responsible. I could actually um, I don't know, not do anything because I life is not fair with me,
mm,
and then don't do it, and have a lot of justification for that. So there is one impulse that, or one sort of moment where you need, where it's important to understand, do I really want to do something about this, or you wanna, or I'm enjoying
Mm,
it. I mean, enjoying it, you know, what I'm saying is that I found some benefits on being in
mm.
this moment of
For
um,
me.
of victim, or look what my life is doing to me. Look at all the decisions that I make in my life that took me here,
Mm,
and the here that we are putting there is just a fantasy here, because if we see our lives from our perspective, our lives are, you know, we are talking from a very privileged situation, all right, in general. So,
mm.
and I'm not saying accepting everything and be happy about everything, but what I'm saying is that yes, accepting everything and then see what happens. But ask yourself that question: Am I liking this or not? And do I want to do anything, something about it?
Mm,
And then yes, when you want to do something about it, okay, I don't know what to do about it. Okay, I know walking is a good thing. So without needing to figure something out, you just go for a walk, or you go for a break, or you take a pause, or you meditate, or you have or you start breathing in a certain way. So you don't need to be in paradise to have a pause, to pause and breathe, all right? You could be anywhere,
mm.
and give a possibility of to accept those thoughts, not fight them anymore, and see what happens.
Yeah.
And be grateful for what you got with everything that we and and then things start changing, and because everything changes, all right, it's just to minimize the amount of time that you get into that in that little rabbit hole that is not healthy, all right, that we agreed on that, it's not healthy.
No, well, I don't find it personally healthy. But then
Mm,
again, I guess everyone's different. I don't want to speak
yeah.
for all people. I hear what you say. Victimization of suffering. Yeah, must be. I'm not really familiar with that as a personality trait of mine. I
Mm,
don't feel like I have a lot of experience in that personally. But I do know a lot of people who have tendencies to accentuate their suffering through that kind of a cycle. And I imagine it must be incredibly difficult too to deal with. Whether or not it's healthy for them, I would say not, but again, I don't know.
yeah.
Um, if they're enjoying being in that suffering space, then it's hard for me to say whether that's a healthy thing or not for them.
Hmm.
I feel in my life that would be an added complication, but my tendency is to want to rather than victimize my situation and accentuate my suffering by saying, "Poor me, why can I not catch a break?" Or why is this XYZ happening to me? Um, and also on that point, I feel I could easily justify that too.
Mm,
I know pain. I've had a lot of painful things happen to me in my life,
hmm.
and I live with various conditions, mental health conditions that can make things challenging for me. So I could very much fit into that. I think I have enough ammunition there, but but I just choose not to.
Hmm.
Um, I choose to learn compassion and acceptance for those things, and I choose to make values aligned, committed action, no matter how small that action might look in one day. So to bring that back into the context of today's situation, so today was a slightly heavier day than normal. When I say normal, I mean the anxiety levels can fluctuate at different times for me. Some days I can wake up feeling okay, and some
Hmm.
days that can be a little heavier for me. Um, in the past, or historically, my tendency is to get really stuck in that state. And like you said, trying to overthink my way through that. But there's always been this desire to get rid of it. I don't want to feel this way. I need to get rid of it. Uh, that didn't really help me too much. In fact, I think it made things worse for me. What I've learnt over the years is that, firstly, I can be compassionate with myself and learn to accept the way I'm feeling, no matter how uncomfortable it is.
Hmm.
And then I can make one small values aligned committed action for that day to move me closer to not so much solving the problem, but contributing to its resolution,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Because I don't
Yeah.
think we can ever be guaranteed, or nor should we try to guarantee that this action's going to solve my problem,
Mm.
because we're then setting up expectation, which then adds another level of kind of complication to the
Yeah.
situation. So for me, getting up today and showing up in this space with you, and opening up about how I'm feeling and what I'm going through, and having this conversation today is one small action for me.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what I'm saying. And for everybody, so if anybody listening might think, geez, showing up on a podcast is actually a big thing. I don't know if I could do that. Um, for me, that's my limit today. That's what I'm willing to contribute to show up. But for others, it can be really, really small things. Like, let's just say, for example, you know, in your situation, you have to find a new house, I'm imagining. You don't,
Hmm.
your living situation is under threat, which is a really valid worry and concern for most people, and a reality of many, many people's lives, right? One of our
Hmm.
basic needs is having a roof over our heads. So when that's threatened, of course, you're going to feel worry, anxiety, uncertainty, and all that. So in that moment, it might be, well, acknowledging I'm feeling that way, what compassionate thing can I do for myself to move through those feelings? Maybe it's walking,
Hmm.
maybe it's meditation, maybe it's going for a run, or maybe it's ringing a friend, whatever it is. And then what small action from that place of feeling a little bit more open
Hmm.
can I make um, towards this particular problem? And maybe
Yeah.
that's, I don't know, um, having a look online to see what houses are available in the area. I don't know, and saying, well, I'm gonna do that for half an hour. I'm not gonna do that for 5 hours and get really like stressed about it because I'm not finding it. I'm just gonna give it half an hour and say, this is what I can do today. And
Yeah.
what I find is when I break it down like that, uh, in a kind of kind and compassionate way to myself, it just takes a little bit of that pressure off.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like coming back to the how do we eat an elephant metaphor, right? So the elephant being the problem, right? And the tendency for us is to get it all sorted in one go. So let's just eat the elephant all at once. Let's
Hmm.
let's solve this problem today and be done with it so that we can focus on the next problem. Um, but maybe in this situation, what it's really calling for is um, small steps, small
Hmm.
actionable steps, and just seeing how that goes. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just a very, very good way of putting it, Lloyd, because you summarized everything that we've been saying. All right. It's like I feel like you don't feel well, but before you need to identify that you're overthinking or you're feeling in a certain way, all right? So first is the realization that you're not feeling very well, because sometimes we are not feeling well and we don't know. But so identifying that is probably the first sort of thing that comes up. the second one that I picked up is the acceptance of that. Okay, this is what's happening. So so you said I choose to. So I've been through a lot of my life, and I learned how to accept what's happening and live with it. And
Learning.
then yeah, learning, yeah, and then yeah, learning to live with it, and then you use the concept values aligned committed actions that I know that I used it before is something that is just a concept that that is part of your practice. So right, the values aligned committed actions. So that I believe that is it just took what you explained is take an action that is related to something that you're thinking about, but not necessarily the full solution, or
Exactly.
it's just something that actually might contribute, like looking at properties online just as a solution when I need to find somewhere to
Exactly.
live for a little bit, and then see what happens, and see what happened, and maybe um, continue that sort of cycle. All right.
Exactly.
And yeah, for sure. That's that's it. And there's no more than that. There's not no more than that. And showing up and having this, because at the moment, Lloyd, you you are, for example, today in the values aligned committed actions that is showing up to this podcast, all right? So you are doing it. You're in the in the middle of
In the
it.
middle. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess there will be a point here in the during the podcast that you can say, all right, how you can go to identify again. How are you feeling? So I can we can do it live. How are you feeling now, Lloyd?
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. How beautiful it is to actually have an opportunity to share a conversation with you because I'm sharing my problems, you're sharing your problems. And somehow through the dialogue, I do feel better.
Mm,
I started the episode like when my stomach was really tight and my heart was racing and I could feel like my palms were a bit sweaty and I was thinking like in my mind, like, oh, how's this going to go? What if they know that I'm anxious and I'm not myself? And now I'm feeling like a little bit more relaxed. So again, a little bit like what we were talking about before, I think that's another good example of movement.
mm,
So how often we can get stuck in our own heads that we shut down on our dialogue.
hmm.
So we go inwards,
Yeah.
we take our problems inwards,
Hmm.
the stories magnify, they get layered like the onion. And then suddenly we were looking at an elephant that looks like a T-Rex.
Mm,
So coming into this space, talking to a friend, knowing that I can be honest, I can be myself and that I'm not going to be judged, is incredibly valuable.
hmm.
So thank you for that. I feel better.
Yeah, and basically, that's the purpose, basically, of this podcast in a way, because it started as us, sharing, sharing how we feel and how we feel about. Well, we started sharing about how we feel about being a coach,
Mhm.
because we were both coaches, and yeah, that's something actually that it was in my head this week, and that is how am I showing up in the world as a coach, and who knows that I'm a coach,
Mm,
who actually knows that I could actually put that is part of my commitment to be a coach to people, and I'm not showing up as a coach anywhere. Nobody knows, or not many people know.
mm,
So that was like, what are you gonna do about that, Diego? So this week, instead of and the where I went on that thought, it was like, oh, you're not good enough. Huh? You're never gonna be a coach if you don't even know how to present yourself to the world? And how can you be a coach if you cannot do that to you? So my head started like that, and so I said, "Oh, I should do something else about." And then slowed down and said, "Like, well, you're already a coach, Diego. You already have clients. You already have reviews. You've already been." But also you've been through a course, you practice, you studied. Also, you've done that. You've done many steps with your own life,
Mm,
which could actually it could actually be beneficial for someone. And so then I disrupted a little bit the punishment, right? The constant like bashing yourself on.
mhm,
And I changed the story, all right, because I could create the story. And no, it's not changing the story of to Superman, all right? Like,
mm,
but yes, but definitely not Superman, but to a very positive one because and then yes, there was opportunity because I started writing. I started writing my presentation. I started creating a plan to have more presence online. I involved my partner to help me with that, and especially to share ideas and to bounce what I wanted to do and see, and suddenly I was already in action, as you said. I was taking a small action,
mhm,
and then all that sort of realm of thoughts disappeared. But when I was in there, my whole life
mm.
was low, all right? Because you cannot go through life thinking that you are inadequate to do something, and then bump into someone in the street and say, "Hello, how are you? Beautiful day." Um, you are not. That's not your vibe, all right? You
Yeah.
you you are coming out to life on that day feeling that you should be doing that, but you're not doing it, and it's just horrible, all right. But as I said, or as we talk now, when you identify that, I said, what are you doing, Diego? Okay, cool. You accept that you're doing that, and then you take an action, and then you get out of that slowly, and change the speech, all right, and
Yeah,
change the stories.
and thank you for sharing that. I resonated a lot with what you're saying. You know, um, can we just say for a second that, for a long time, well, I've been in hospitality for a long time, and you've been in corporate for a long time, and all of a sudden we're now trying to be coaches. So
Mhm.
who says we're going to be good coaches? Who, who, where is the pressure coming from for us to have all the answers?
And who is a good coach?
And who is a good coach? So, um, this is a helpful thing, I I picked up something around that positivity and when you sort of mentioned almost like there's a term called toxic positivity. I don't know if you're aware of that term, but it's when I think it's what my understanding of it is that when we're inauthentically positive, like we maybe don't really believe it, but we're just putting it out there because we believe if we are just positive all the time, then positive things will happen to us, right? I don't particularly like to do that. I don't believe so much in it. Well, actually, it's not that I don't believe in it, it just doesn't work for me. I
Mhm.
prefer to be much more authentic in that space and say, okay, so for me, you're talking about your coaching journey. I'm bringing it back into my life at the moment. I'm studying uni and I'm shit scared that I am too old and that I can't write essays. Okay? That's my problem at the moment. That's the thing that's keeping me awake at night. Right? So hang on a second. When I bring that back out and say, well, who says I need to know all that now? Why do I need to put this pressure on myself? Yeah, it's important to me because I want to become a good counselor and I want to serve my community. So I'm doing this degree because I care. And why do I feel anxious about that? Because I care. And that's a valid feeling. So for you, you care about being a good coach because you want to help people. Am I right? Did I kind of
Hmm.
get, is that,
Yeah.
yeah? So there's values there. You care. So in this moment, it's like we zooming out. Hang on a minute. I'm worried about whether I'm going to write essays. I'm worried about whether I'm going to be a good student at 45. I'm worried about whether I should be, what am I doing here? I should be working full time. I should be supporting my family more. This is not, this is not the male provider role that life has shown me that I should be doing. Going, what am I doing? Going back to university? Who am I kidding? Look at all these people there. Oh my goodness. Oh, imposter syndrome, self-doubt, all these things. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on a second. Whose stories are these? Whose expectations are these? What pressure is this? So, in that moment, rather than just being like, no matter what, I'm going to get straight A's. I'm going to smash this. I'm going to be great counselor, no issues, be favorites with my lecturers. This will be a breeze, no worries at all. This kind of, you know, overly positive. For me, it's like actually more grounded in no, I'm not supposed to have all the answers to this. This is a change. This is a life transition. This is hard. It's not supposed to be easy. You redesigning yourself as a coach after being in corporate and having a whole life behind you in another context. Try to be a coach now all of a sudden and have all the answers.
Mm.
It's not realistic. So for me, when I say that, I'm trying, the message I'm trying to convey is that when we can be compassionate with ourselves and realize that we're not supposed to have it all figured out in these moments, particularly in these moments, coming with a beginner's mindset,
Mm.
what helps me when I think about writing essays is like, okay, I've never written an essay in my life. Where do I start?
Hmm.
From the first sentence.
Be brave. Be brave enough to suck at something new again.
Absolutely.
It's
Um,
amazing, Lloyd, and because it's just that first of all, that's what keep us alive as well. We know that, all right. We know that the new challenges, the and even if you do it for for a little bit and you find that it's not what you wanted to, it doesn't really matter. You know, it could be that you're there and you said, "Oh no, I really," or you get extremely inspired and you're you're an amazing student, or you. But it doesn't really matter. It's just the action. It's just doing it and confronting that. Look, I'm gonna share something that I wanna leave it in this podcast. Is that this week, I also have a moment where I felt that I was doing nothing, that I was doing nothing. I was like feeling like, am I going to describe a little bit? It's not about talking. Well, it's about sharing a bit what happened in my life these days and what is in my head. In my head is that I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing much. But this week actually involves everything I dream of. So my life, everything that I dream of my life is happening this week. A little bit of everything I dream of my life. But still my brain still doesn't feel it. Still
mm,
my brain thinks that I'm not doing it.
mm,
So on Saturday, I started on Saturday, I co-created or help my partner Donna to run a retreat and we have an amazing couple that came to the retreat that was a dream of us, like to have another couple.
mm.
And I cannot disclose, but that couple was the most amazing couple that we could have. All right, and I tell you the story later, but it's just incredible. After that, at night, there was another show or another one of the events that I'm co-creating with the other two guys in town. All right, so I went from a day retreat to an event that we created with a beautiful band that played that was incredible. On Monday, I dealt with the whole property thing and I contact everyone and I might also probably resolve that. On Thursday, I went to my drama acting class, which I started again because I might be also a potential replacement actor in the play that I'm producing with a group of friends. So I'm producing a theater play. Yesterday, I had a matching tattoo with my son, which is the most amazing, beautiful thing that it could happen to me. Plus, I went to a singing circle, so I was singing. I never sang before, so I was singing. All right. Today, I'm doing a podcast with you. Tomorrow, Friday and Saturday, I'm going to a big event. There is a five rhythm that is free dancing with a little bit of therapy. And so in this week, my brain is saying that I'm not doing anything. I just been dancing, singing, going to drama acting classes. Um, I've been helping on a in a sort of in a retreat event. I created and my dream of creating events and with a friend of mine playing it on stage with a beautiful band and also resolving my living conditions and being and having I'm being in a relationship as well, like a new one. So where the hell my brain can say that I'm not doing anything, that I have not achieved anything this week?
Yeah, or thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and I put it out there, exaggerating, but because I believe that we all doing that.
Mm,
We all doing everything that
mm,
I said. We all doing it.
mm.
If we start looking, we're doing dream stuff.
Yeah. Uh,
Lloyd, I know how you live. I know your family. I know that we're doing amazing things. Fatherhood, or if you are a father, or even running your household. Going to uni, don't know what else you've been doing this week. We're doing it, dream stuff. We dream about that. We're doing it, and
one
it's
question I
still
want to,
we're still not good enough.
yeah, one question I want to ask you to that is what, what else would you have done this week that would have made your brain say, okay, Diego, you're good.
There's
You've been a
nothing.
good boy this week.
No, no, there's nothing. It's relentless. The brain is relentless. There's no matter what you're doing. The brain has, well, at least my brain has always something else to say, and so like, what else do you need?
Mm,
So then that's the realization that the brain doesn't tell you, doesn't lead you anywhere in general. It
mm,
helps you to resolve a few things, but just following thoughts is not conducive to much,
mm,
honestly. Um, and then because what happened is when I went out of that thought and I realized that, I said, okay, brain, I'm gonna I'm gonna say thank you very much for your concerns. This is what I done the whole week, and this is part of my dream. So thank you for your thoughts. And then I meditated on and I created a space of gratitude for everything that I'm living and I'm creating. I'm living. I experiencing the people around me. It's just all beautiful. When I created that space, my life completely changed. For the experience of life completely changed
mm,
because I focus on because it's the realities that we're doing dreamlike stuff, mate.
mm,
We're doing things that we are creating for our own lives.
mm,
Lord, you're creating a family. That's a dream, all right? Isn't it? How hard uh, is to have access to another person and create a family together? How it's just it's just a miracle.
yeah, and we don't give ourselves enough credit for just that role. itself,
Oh my God.
being
And
parents.
being parents, but being a husband, being a partner, being a friend. Um, and this is not sometimes in the past this should will sound fluffy to me, like, oh yeah, those are things that no mate, those are like very very amazing things that that we are tackling in our lives and creating and living and putting all our soul into that, all right? And same as everything else, for me, everything that I've done this week about self-expression is something that I never done before.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not sure if I'm good, bad, I don't really care. It's something that I haven't done before, and I created from nothing because there was no chance that I will be singing.
Mhm.
All right, if I don't put myself in there, because everybody told me in my life, including myself, the first one, that I cannot sing,
Mhm.
or playing drums, or playing an instrument, or dancing. It's like so. Yeah, always a chance to stop. Look at that. Tell your brain, thank you very much for your concerns.
Mhm.
Um, really look at your life and look at your moment and express gratitude and keep going, and then you will understand that life is working.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing there is, often when we're focusing on the problems, we're missing the other things, We're missing all the other things that are going really well for our lives. Is that
Mm.
kind of what you're saying?
Mm. Yeah,
When we're focusing on what's lacking or what's missing, we're missing what we have, or we're not paying enough attention, or um, we're not recognizing those other things. It's kind of like we forget them, or they're not existing at the moment, or they're not
yeah,
enough.
but also, Lloyd, the lacking is not true.
Mm,
So my brain was telling me that my life was lacking of this and that, and it wasn't true
mm,
at all,
mm,
at all.
mm.
It's just crazy. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I don't sure I'm not sure if that belongs only to my brain, but I'm tend to think that I'm not special. I think that brains, in
Mm,
general, are acting to everyone like that.
mm,
When I mean when we are in this negative spot, right? We
mm.
sometimes some people's brain are already working in for them, but yeah, I found myself on that, and since you shared this at the beginning of the episode today, I'll say yes. I had the same. I have the same thing this week when everything was working for me. Still, I wake up in the morning very heavy, saying, "What are you doing, dear, with your life?" It's
Oh,
crazy. It's
yeah.
absolutely crazy, Lloyd.
We're never
And
satisfied.
no, and where is it coming from? Why we do that? Doesn't.
Mm. That's probably a conversation for another day, because the social constructionism is a big topic, and diving into why we are the way we are and why we think this way is a big one. But I want to thank you for your vulnerability. I want to thank you and acknowledge your sharing of what you've been going through this week. Um, because it makes me feel a little less alone in my own head. And I might say that as a message to everyone that, we're not too dissimilar to each other. We may have different kind of quirks, but really at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, and we all suffer the same thing,
Mm.
more or less. So when we come together and we open that space to share, uh, in this manner, and I would say that we can often come together in society and complain, to victimize, to speak poorly of others. This is a habit I think we've all been guilty of in the past. And maybe some people still do that. But but if you come into an environment with someone and you're willing to be honest and authentic and open, uh, it can be transformational, can be enlightening, it can be opening because suddenly you realize, oh my God, this guy's having the same thoughts that I'm having. And here I was thinking I'm all alone in this world with these horrible thoughts that um, you know, the world's out to get me. But yeah, so yeah, just wanted to say thank you for that. And it's been a really it's been a really nice conversation. It's been a good opportunity to express some things that have been ruminating in my mind. But to do it in a really nice and reflective way has been also really inspiring. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lloyd, and I have nothing else to add to the that last summary because it actually it actually summarizes everything that we talk and also a little bit of the purpose of this activity of this beautiful podcast. And I said beautiful podcast because it is.
Hmm.
And I hope that anyone that could listen to this podcast had at least a little bit of the effect that this podcast does to ourselves. Like,
Hmm.
and I know if it works for you today, and it works a lot for me today as well, and hopefully we can reach at least one or two people and and get and contribute to that and help do this exercise
Hmm.
of dealing with ourselves.
Yeah.
And yeah, so thank you very much, Lloyd. That was a pleasure again. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you, Diego, and be kind to yourself. Everybody, be kind to yourselves,
Yeah,
and let's stop beating ourselves up and take a look around at some of the things that we have to be grateful for.
yeah, beautiful. And yeah, sorry, one more thing. Yesterday, what lights me up, I had a moment where when I had the matching tattoo with my son for the first time, we tattooed an infinite sign together,
Yeah.
and I said, this I would like to have a little ritual with you, and also um, this tattoo symbolizes the infinite love that a father can have for his son,
Mhm.
and I want you to understand that every time you look at the tattoo, regardless of how I am with you, but behind all of that is infinite love. So if we touch into those values, into love, everything changes completely. And when I said that to my son, like a ray of light came from somewhere,
Yeah,
and
beautiful.
I felt alive. So when we go there, the little problems and the thoughts have no chance
Absolutely.
of.
100%. That's beautiful. And the key word there for me is love. And we've talked a lot about fear today, a lot about self-doubt, insecurity, uncertainty. Uh, the opposite of fear is love.
Mhm. Yeah.
And the basis of fear, underlying the fear, is love. So we can take great strength from that in knowing that if we are feeling fear, it's because we care about ourselves. We love ourselves, even as much as we hate ourselves. And some people really hate themselves to the point where they um, really struggle But fear is because we care. And there is a deep underlying value of love there. So if you are feeling a lot of fear these days, um, find something to love to counter that because it's there somewhere.
Beautiful, beautiful, Lloyd. Amazing.
See you next time.
See you next time, Lloyd. Thank you. Thanks for staying with us. This conversation doesn't end here. It keeps moving just like we do.
And if something resonated or stirred a question, you don't need to resolve it, just notice it. Let it sit with you. And until next time, take care of yourself and thanks for listening.